Convincing young men to die for rich politician causes is a chain that has lasted thousands of years.
Speaking of military, there was one part that reminded me of you. I quote from World War One:
Yeah.
"Dulce et decorum est pro patria mori."
No, I have no idea what you're saying.
It's something to the tune of like there is nothing more glorious than like dying for your country.
It is extremely useful and convenient for the state to convince young men that dying patriotically is a good thing.
I hope it's okay for me to ask. Like that was something that in the army you were taught.
Kind of, yes, asterisk. It's taught, but with the energy of, you ever watch the Patton movie?
No.
There's a big famous scene where he gives a speech like in front of troops, ostensibly before, I believe, D-Day. And in the speech, he says, there's nothing patriotic about dying for your country. Your job is to make the other asshole die for his country. There's like an in conflict where most people die. You kind of have to have that cope of you have fulfilled your duty. You're going to go get your virgins in heaven. You're going to like do this martyrdom thing, which is like a theme through a lot of different cultures, not just Islam. The martyrdom aspect of it isn't really explicitly pushed because the US doesn't want you to die. Based on what's happening to the VA, you could argue that maybe it's more convenient for veterans to die than to get taken care of. The core of it is dying comes with the territory, not that it's the point. And so you see in military like literature, art, poetry, this shift away from focusing on the glory of a death in battle to something a little bit more nuanced and modern, where it's like it comes with the job and it's a noble part of the job, but it's not necessarily like the point or the default. I don't know if that answers your question.
I remember you were talking about how in boot camp they break you down and then like build you back up, right? So was there a point where they talk about this kind of thing and then they assume, okay, you've got that part and we're going to move on to the skills? And
there's not like a sweet little info session where you get everybody in auditorium and be like, hey, just so you know, you might die. Honestly, that's liberal fantasy shit. It's more about redefining your baseline stakes for your day-to-day decisions.
Maybe that's why you have such a great 10,000-foot point of view, because you've had to separate it all.
Modern men in general compartmentalize by default. Part of it is societally, you're not allowed to feel emotions in most situations. You're allowed to feel anger and you're allowed to be neutral. And generally, that's what you're allowed to do in public situations. So there's like a baseline level of that. But when you get into military pipelines, if you do something like you don't pack your bag correctly, the corrective process is you didn't bring the ammunition you were supposed to bring. You run out of bullets halfway through this fight and you kill everybody on your team.
So you mind the details to an extreme degree also.
Yeah, it is a sense of the decisions that you make, even if they're micro, can turn into something that matters at a critical moment. It's like an omnipresent sense of, hey, if you're not doing the thing that's for the good of the mission or for the good of the team, you are explicitly potentially the reason that other people die. Your death doesn't matter, but other people's deaths matter a lot. And that's like the basis of brotherhood or connection in a lot of military and a lot of team contexts in general, just like with different stakes. But it's like less about the die for your country that's glorious and more about you are in a profession of bringing legitimate violence to these places. And what comes with that is the stakes and responsibility of thinking about death.
Wow. I like the whole like brotherhood idea or like philosophy, way of being.
Say more.
Because that makes it much more like personal and human, right? I'm assuming that a lot of your like brotherhood is based on the fact that you're trying to help each other not die and protect each other, and then that seems more of a practical like benefit to the whole team as well.
Yeah, I mean, like there's people that are like, I'll die for the U.S., but most people are dying for their team. And there's good aspects of it, and there's bad aspects of it, right?
What are the bad aspects of it?
Well, the basic one is you end up having like weird sets of allegiances. It's very easy to manipulate people when they think from these hyperlocal contexts. And so like what you can have is like a leadership team that knows you feel some type of way about like the people around you. There's some scandals about this, but they'll frame something as, hey, you have to do this war crime like thing. And if you don't, your buddies will get in trouble or go to jail or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And so that's like how a lot of war crime type things get covered up because you've created this sense of brotherhood without ethics attached to it, or like an ethical structure attached to it.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that. I never thought about that possibility.
Convincing young men to die for rich politician causes is nuanced and is a chain that has lasted thousands of years. Not that there aren't like women in the service, but it is overwhelmingly young and also overwhelmingly white. white men in combat arms.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't. I for some reason thought it was because of the way they recruit from different classes. It wasn't tilted that way.
The overall military is, we'll say, like weighted across like a bunch of different, mostly poor minorities. Specifically combat arms, there is a strong tradition in like Appalachia and other rural white areas of the country of going into military service, specifically like infantry type roles. They're not the only people there, but by and large, the combat arms units are very white and very poor. It's like a cultural thing.